Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ASUS ROG DreamLeague coverage of the fall major qualifiers. Well, game number 1 looking pretty strong for Monkey Business, though. Na'Vi put up a good fight.
It was a fun game, like really back and forth, cool strategies, interesting hero picks, cool duel lanes.
By far the most unique strategy I've seen this whole tournament. Like I felt like Monkey Business came with something completely outside the box.
I like the way NoTail played that Alchemist. He went for the Solar Crest, then right into Blink. It seemed like in that 15 to 20 minute window, I thought Monkey Business was just going to take over the entire game with their 5-man. Then Na'Vi got scrappy, and Funnick had a really good performance on that LC.
I think also, Funnick had to carry the early stages of the game because Denny got doomed a couple of times because Moonmeander was on his case. The Alch with the Solar Crest was really effective. And that just goes to show how good the hero is, that you can get 4 points Solar, or rather 4 points Acid Spray, 4 points into your Unstable Concoction, and you could just destroy people with the Solar Crest. And then you just got the Aghanim Scepters, obviously. And, I mean, the Dooms were pretty bad for Dendy. Then they eventually got back into it, and Funnick was pretty far ahead just because of the amount of duels he had won. But eventually, and also the crazy thing too is when you think about it, that Necrophos was like super underfarmed for like that 15 to 20 minute mark. He had 3,000 net worth. He was like a support essentially. Yeah. And then he got back into it. So.
But he played a true support role, right? It felt like all he was picked to do was to heal people.
Yeah.
At least during the pushes. The EB was crazy for me. I think Cap pointed out one of the items they were going for at the end was like a Blade of Alacrity. I think they were going for mass diffusal blades because they needed a way to purge that damn freaking ethereal form off so they could kill people.
Damn freaking ethereal blade.
Yeah, and I also thought that Dire should have got ethereal blade because those glimmer capes were being mad annoying. Like it was making the Reaper Scythe a lot more ineffective. So that game was amazing because heroes were not buying the standard items, and I was. Man, Monkey Business, I wanted to see more.
Yeah, I feel like NoTail had almost the perfect balance of when to keep farm for himself for item progression, but also give Ags out. Because he gave one to Doom, he gave one to Necro towards the end of the game, which ended up kind of being the final nail in the coffin for Na'Vi.
Well, you can make the argument that the EB wasn't for himself, because it really wasn't. True. Like, he just put 5k into his teammates, but it was item on him.
It does very little to strength heroes. It's like 7 armor or something like that, 30 attack speed. It's not really for himself. And I really liked his eggs distributions as well. I think the rushing into the Necrolite eggs isn't important. It's more important to wait for the late game, because we were talking to Blitz about it. He's like, man, it just seems like when you get an eggs on Necro at this stage in the game, like you just can't lose. Like you have so much margin for error. As long as your team fights are kind of similar to your opponents, then you're going to get an opportunity to get an ult off, and then you've got 100 seconds to play with, or 120 seconds to play with. You just keep doing that.
And what made that close is Na'Vi actually had a window where it seemed like they could close out the game. They were in the Dire base, and Monkey Business just barely held on. And it was right after that fight that they had enough money for that next Ags, and then that's when Necro was just deleting heroes left and right. I mean, when Dendy was out of the game for 2 minutes, it's like, how do you defend your base without your Shadow Fiend?
Yeah. Maybe at some point, maybe Necro will be the new OP hero, but for now I think he's fairly balanced, but we'll see how things progress.
So I want to ask you guys the ultimate open-ended question. Was that an outdraft or an outperformance, or was it more of an underperformance for Na'Vi? Because that game was really all over the place with interesting hero picks, and it felt to me like Monkey Business just had superior execution in their game plan.
I would say the whole Wisp plus Legion strat, they've done it many times before. That was maybe one game where you don't want to do it because Monkey Business, they drafted so many tanky heroes. All of their heroes had huge strength gains. They had heals all over the place. They had Solar Crest. They had lots of ways to save their allies. Stuns as well. Even Jakiro's really good at protecting anybody that gets dueled. Because no matter where he's standing, he can probably land a stun. So I feel like that kind of a strat is maybe not good for that lineup to be against.
Yeah. How about you, Ma? What were you thinking?
I really just think that, honestly, the Moonmeander just outplayed them, I think, for a lot of the game. His Doom was absolutely outstanding. I mean, it doesn't help Na'Vi the fact that Hero was already good in the first place.
But he played super aggressive in the lane. Like he was diving towers. They got the most out of that Lich Doom off lane.
And there were certain instances where Na'Vi did underplay, when they dove that tier 1 tower down bottom, and then Moonmeander just fought back and they just cleaned house. I mean, that was not the best play from them. They didn't need to do that. They could have backed up and maybe, kept a couple heroes alive. So I don't think that. I think it was a combination of both. Na'Vi maybe outdrafting themselves, maybe underperforming, and then obviously Moon having a great game. And you guys already mentioned NoTail. We don't really need to talk anymore about him. I mean, he had a fantastic game too. So I think all around Monkey Business just had the better time.
What also stood out to me was we talked a lot about the Miracle +4. And I mean, Miracle played fine that game, but that didn't feel like, all right, Everyone's dragging Miracle down. If only he could control all 5 heroes. You know, he played his role, but that was a really solid team effort.
Yeah, like I said, when the team does well, everybody gets items. Everybody does well. And it wasn't, for example, No-Tail, he had Alchemist. Normally, what you see from an Alchemist is it's his game. It's not anybody else's game. He eats the whole map with Radiance and Acid Spray. He farms everything, but that was as team effort as it possibly can be with an Alchemist in the game.
Right. So we're going to have another minute or two before the draft starts. Team's still filling into the lobby. What are we thinking looking forward? How can Na'Vi adapt to make this at least a draw?
I mean, the weird thing was that, like, to me it was like out strat almost. Like they just played this weird new thing. Like, can you say it was a weird new thing? It's I've not really seen that before. No, not Na'Vi Strafe.
I'd agree.
It has
I've
been
never
done
seen
before.
that.
Yes.
The shotgun into like giving eggs. It felt like it was a timing push of sorts.
From
What do you mean shotgun into giving eggs? Are you talking about like the
what
Solar
Alchemist
Crest?
was doing?
Yeah,
for it was just a weird thing.
It's pretty standard right now, honestly, because they did a lot at ESL New York. They either
No,
go
I've seen the Solar Crest and the Blink. I've not seen the whole transition after that.
what the E-Blade. They only got the E-Blade as a reaction
in-game reaction.
to the Legion. That's the only reason they got it, surely.
Because Funnick had a lot of damage at the end.
Yeah,
he was
he
becoming a really serious threat,
Yeah.
and that was their way to just totally neutralize it.
Yeah, completely neutralize it. That's the only reason they got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But same thing. Solar Crest into buying Ags for Ags heroes. Secret did
Okay.
it with Venomancer. It works really good with Doom. It works really good with Necrolite. That's why they did it.
Yeah. So you think not? I mean, did that feel like kind of an 50-50 type game? Do you think this next game is even footing? Na'Vi could take it just as easily as Monkey Business did in game 1. Was it that even for you, Mr. Na'Vi fan?
Well, I felt that it was Monkey's game to lose because their strategy was stronger. Like they had a much better start with the Doom. Despite of all that, Na'Vi still made a strong comeback in a phase where they were destined to lose, right? Because we talked about once you hit that 20-30 minute mark, when you have the Scepter on the Necrolite, you just cannot lose.
Yeah.
But despite of that, we saw Na'Vi taking it Rex. So
Yeah.
even though Na'Vi lost, I hope they could kind of ride that momentum into game 2 and at least draw it up, right?
Yeah. I also felt like Havost on Razor just wasn't able to do too much that game. Not a particularly poor performance, but it was just a...
Well, Razor's not exactly the flashiest of heroes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Could there have been
okay.
a better carry there?
I think his eggs. Did he get eggs? I can't remember. But there was a lot of times where his ultimate did a lot of work. Just if you have a lot of tanky heroes, lower their armor, and then you're just simply going to do a lot more damage to them. And even reflecting his unstable current, a lot of the times he would slow his opponents by massive amounts before they would kill him. So maybe it didn't do a huge amount, but also gave them decent lanes, and the minus armor really helps out in the long term.
It's kind of interesting that we're seeing Na'Vi and Alliance both playing that kind of older style to some degree. Like you guys said, the Wisp LC is really nothing new. We've seen them do that a lot in the past. Not at the TI3 era, of course, but
more recent.
But they're still playing Batrider. We saw Batrider banned out that game. Anti-Mage, like you talked about. I wonder if they're still going to be drawn to some of those. So how did you put Anti-Mage going into that game? Do you say he was an outdated hero? Was that the
I think
phrase you
so.
used?
He was a hero that was great for last patch because of things like Lina, Leshrac,
Right.
Storm. But we don't see those heroes as much, and therefore we don't see Anti-Mage as successful.
What do you want to see, What do you want to see out of Na'Vi coming in game 2?
I mean, I like their draft overall. I don't mind them going back to the old play style, their old style of gameplay. I like their innovative drafts especially, but I don't know. I mean, honestly, all of their lanes had something. I thought, the Legion and IO combo was going to be kind of iffy. It could have worked really well or it didn't, but it actually did a really good job. I think they should give Dendy something more flashy, but I think a lot of people disagree with that. I think a lot of people don't like seeing Dendy having a flashy hero.
He played a Magnus last night.
Right, exactly. Like
He plays Shadow Fiend. That's pretty flashy.
I mean, I get Shadow Fiend's really standard though right now. I mean, like for example, what Andrew said in the Magnus. I think a lot of people would disagree. They don't want to see him play that. They want to see him play like what's considered standard now. The crazy thing is though, there's so many different heroes that are starting to come into the pool now. We've seen like S4 play a multitude of heroes. I mean, there's so many different that you can play. So I wouldn't be opposed to seeing.
He did bust out a puck yesterday as well, which was surprising.
So I mean, it doesn't have to be farm oriented. It doesn't have to be tempo controlling. Just maybe something new. Put like just surprise monkey business essentially.
Okay. I just got word that we've got a replay.
Okay.
We have a little time to fill here as we get into the next lobby. Does that mean it's time for a luminous analysis.
Do we even have the bumper? I don't think we do.
Oh, we don't have a bumper. Well, you can still draw on the board, though. All right.
You guys got to help me out because I don't know what replay is this.
Okay, so it's a blind replay here. We're going to pop forward. You can draw on it as well.
Big mistake here. He dueled the wrong person. That was...
Which one should he have dueled instead?
If they would have killed the Necrolite here, they would have won the fight most likely. How did you pause that?
I didn't pause it.
I want to pause.
I want to pause, and you can pause. You can even go back.
Yeah.
Oh, is there someone
this
backstage?
This is new technology.
There's a robot backstage.
All right, so can we go back to the very beginning of the replay before he got the blink off? So in the position that he started, honestly, could he have?
Smoke got broke, so the teams basically knew. I don't know whose ward this is. I'm gonna guess it's I don't know. I'm not sure whose ward this is. It's a Radiant ward. Okay, so basically both teams knew they were there. Funnick basically had to initiate because the smoke broke, and when he blinked in, the target he wanted is all the way over here. Like, he's way out of range. There's no way that he can close this distance. So,
by the way that he moved, like he blinked in and he was confused for a bit, and I think he just grabbed the nearest target.
And that happens a lot late game Legion Commander. It's actually a very hard role to play initiation-wise. It's much more dangerous than a Batrider. Batrider grabs somebody, pulls you. But Legion's like, I have to stand here for a long time. It gets really scary. So because it was crit they initiated on, and everything was hard. They got the kill there. Doom was already on Dendi, and they eventually got worked down in terms of HP. They really needed to kill Miracle here.
Yeah, this is the point where Miracle is just massive. He's got his Guardian Greaves, he's got his Octarine Core, and I think he's already been fed the Aghanims as well.
Yeah, and the one person they tried to go on, Doom, he's extremely tanky, very survivable, and then they just kind of got separated and killed at this point.
Yeah, as per most Necrolite lineups go, the longer the fight gets drawn out, the stronger the hero gets. Not just in his passive, the fact that he throw out more heals, and he's so crippling here. I thought Dendi was up the ramp where they didn't have vision of the Scythe. I thought his ultimate was going to go off.
He wasn't going to get a kill anyway, so that I think the battle was lost. To be honest, if anything, Dendi made a huge mistake there by getting caught.
He should have just
If he just escaped, maybe lost Havost, and Havost got ultied, they'd have a vague chance of coming back. But with him getting killed first with a follow-up, it's just too tough.
And this whole fight is just the beginning of the end. I think that's actually the first Reaper Scythe kill we see with the upgraded Aghanim. So the Shadow Fiend's taken out of the game, and then as they siege high ground, they're able to get another kill with the Reaper Scythe. So
what a cool table. I wish I had
well done on that, guys. Good work. I didn't do anything. Excellent stuff.
It's a little. It takes a little while to get used to. It's also the looking down angle that takes a little getting used to as well. But hopefully we can utilize that a little more in the future here as things continue in this tournament. But boys, we've got a draft underway. I think it's time to hop in and see what these times are working on in game number 2. This is Monkey Business up 1-0. Na'Vi need a win here.
Yeah, that's Tusk, and they banned Doom. That's not surprising. They also banned IO. I guess both teams could play it. IO first phase to me sometimes seems a little interesting. I guess it's deserved, but sometimes I wish we'd see something else besides IO first ban.
I'm curious if Na'Vi are going to be tempted into the anti-mage here. I mean, it's just been such a staple of the strategies that they've gone for.
Do either of these teams play Brood? I would imagine they do.
I'm trying to think if I've
seen
I'm not
actually. I don't remember Funnick being a big Brood player.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a Funnick hero, does it?
Yeah. I would say that if Na'Vi doesn't take the Darkseer here, Monkey Business is highly to take it themselves. They value Darkseer very highly. Generally, they actually first ban it, or they first pick it. Surprised to see them actually value the Tusk over the Darkseers when they do have the first pick.
Doesn't Moonmeander often play the Tusk and the Darkseer, though? Do they draft both of them in the same lineup?
They do. Obviously, we've seen many teams use Tusk as a second, like a support row.
Yeah, for sure.
Which, if they feel like it, they could go for both. But
Moon plays a really mean Darkseer, though.
Yeah,
it's becoming one of his signature heroes.
He actually has like a pretty big hero pool, honestly.
Most offlaners nowadays do, right? Because I think the offlane hero pool has widened up.
Yeah. Like Nature's Prophet. Wow. Okay, that's
Dazzle Ogre opener.
Interesting.
So very strong dual support. It could be potentially an offlane Ogre.
Okay.
But they can aggressively trialing if they want.
Okay, so this Na'Vi had the same exact opener last night, and I believe it's when they did the Anti-Mage Batrider Magnus paired with this. So you have Bloodlust as well as the Empower on the Anti-Mage. He was able to he did the offlane thing and was able to recover very easily because of the buff. So to me, this seems like a really good read from Monkey Business, doing their homework, seeing what worked
Like a
for
block
Na'Vi
pick,
yesterday. Yeah, and taking the anti-mage to take it away from Na'Vi, because this is the exact same opener they did.
There are other heroes that function similarly to what anti-mage can do. I mean, I think PA is probably the biggest one.
The difference, though, is like anti-mage can kind of do something in the offlane because he has Blink, so he has a get-it-out-of-jail-free card.
Right.
PA sort of does with the Phantom Strike, but do you think is there like a carry that is about on the same level as anti-mage that can also survive the off-lane solo for the first 10 minutes? Because that's like the core of that strategy if that's what they want to go for.
I'm sure there's something that I just can't think of off the top of my head.
Maybe like a Slark or something, I guess.
Yeah,
Slark,
close.
Slark, yeah, I
do
think is probably
And Avos does play Slark. And I don't know that they'll go with that strategy here, but this is eerily similar.
Well, PA would work the best for a carry that also is good against anti-mage.
Yep.
So,
Yes.
I mean, they don't have to put it in the off lane. They could put it in the safe lane, do a safe tri lane, transition him with a Magnus mid.
I mean, again, a lot of melee heroes that could benefit from this that Havos really enjoys playing, which is the Juggernaut, the Life Stealer, these kind of very aggressive, essentially semi-carries, right?
Juggernaut's great.
Yeah, Jug's fine.
He's good against Tuskar, too.
I mean, good with Ignite here from the Ogre Magi, so.
Yeah.
Reserve time.
I would go for Juggernaut, I think. I think Juggernaut's still very good. Lots of physical damage. Omni Slash gives you good team fighting ability. You can push if you want. You can level up your Blade Fury and just do magic damage instead.
It also works
a lot of
nicely with the
options.
Dazzle in terms of like having a lot of heal for the 5-man kind of death ball in the mid game if that's the route you want to go.
We saw the Jug, what, twice today in that game?
There's a lot of Jugs. Maybe 3 out of 4. There was a lot of Jug games earlier today in the Chinese scene.
The Chinese, I think the Chinese definitely still value it. It's still definitely a good hero, so I wouldn't be surprised if they pick it up.
Was there any kind of pick or ban love towards Ancient Apparition in the Chinese games?
No.
They only
was like
picked
one
it
game.
against Alchemist.
Okay.
There was an Alchemist core.
Yeah.
Vichy
Otherwise,
likes
they
that
don't
hero
touch
quite a bit, but that's
Yeah.
just Vichy.
That's just a Vici thing.
Yeah.
Reserve time.
All right, and I'll be thinking about it here, delving into the reserve time. They may be considering the Bat Rider pickup if they want to go for it.
Bat Rider, somewhat dangerous against the Tusk, because if the Tusk player is good enough, you can snowball.
That's true.
In fact, your Tusk just stand next to the carry a lot of times. Just if you feel the Bat's coming, you immediately snowball and be like, yo.
Well, I do like this here, Night Stalker. Nice beefy core here to go with the Ogre.
Can silence anti-mage, so can gank and pressure him in the early game
Yep.
and provide vision against him late game.
It's really good to deal with the split push.
They have good supports. They can run with the Night Stalker and the supports. They can gank the anti-mage. They can get a aggressive carry if they want, gank the anti-mage that way.
And again, to reference that series last night, their anti-mage, the game they lost with the anti-mage was against the Night Stalker, who was a core who got an Ags and just completely stopped the anti-mage from splitting the
That
map.
just seems to happen very often. Like Night Stalker's picked so often now, and for good reason. That hero is just so strong. The silence is so good. The 5-second duration at nighttime is insane.
Here's the thing, I get everything good that's about the Night Stalker Axe, but when you really boil it down, like when it comes to fighting and right-clicking, that Axe and probably the gem on top, which we see very common, is essentially like, what, 5k net worth. That's not really adding
What would you
more
buy instead?
damage. I'm not saying there's any good alternative, because the vision is
Armlet.
godly in a team fight. But are we maybe overhyping Night Stalker a bit, you guys think?
I don't think the hype is around his Ags. Like, he was picked previously because of his Ags. Now he's good because
It's just
his
early game, I
game
think.
is so
Yeah.
strong, and in the mid game you have that vision advantage. Because they changed him recently. He now has like 2.5 HP per second.
Yes.
It's crazy. It's like Ogre. Look at the heroes they have. They have tons of natural sustain, high armor heroes. They're going to be very strong early.
Their laning is going to be good.
Their
for
laning's
sure.
going to be really strong.
Like, it really comes down to that first night for like almost any Night Stalker player, whether it's a support, whether it's played in the offlane. It's just like,
Yeah.
if you don't get a kill in that first night, either you're doing something wrong or they're just countering your Night Stalker play pretty effectively. I feel like you're not necessarily guaranteed a kill in the first night, but you're supposed to get one at the very least.
10 seconds remaining.
Well, now Beastmaster for Monkey Business. So it looks like they will pass on the
5
Darkseer,
seconds
who's
remaining.
still... Oh, no, he was banned out. Okay.
Yeah.
My mistake.
So the Beastmaster, we've seen a lot of teams trying to be
Reserve
defensive
time.
against the Night Stalker. You put Hawks around, trying to have some extra vision. But I think when teams are beating Night Stalkers, they're beating them to the offense. You're killing them during the day, or when he's coming to gank during night, you give him a counter gank. I think that perhaps is the best way for Monkey Business to go. Right now they have 3 melee heroes, so I'm always afraid of a Timbersaw when situations like this arise. But they already picked their offlane.
It would
which
be a
is-
good Timber game.
Yeah, but they already have the Night Stalker, so I don't
Actually,
think.
such a good Timber game. Anti-Mage, Beastmaster, and Tusk.
People just don't pick that hero anymore.
I was thinking
like one out of like 10 teams pick.
Fnatic played him.
Yeah, okay, but it's like 1 out of 10 teams that like will play Timbersaw now. I think more people will start playing him pretty soon because of the heroes that are getting picked. But
I was thinking this could be a good Magnus game for Dendy.
Oh.
With 3 melee, but now that the Lena's picked up, seems more likely.
What is happening right now?
Timbersaw's right-clicking to get killed.
No, but what's with this profit pick?
Whoa.
What are lanes?
Okay.
I'm confused.
is that a mid Beastmaster, support Tusk, then off lane Moon
Yeah,
Meander,
yeah, yeah. I
Nature's
mean,
Prophet?
it seems like that's the possibility. There's like a 1% chance that's a support profit. We've seen some top tier Chinese teams do it in the past.
Could
but
it be just a greedy jungle prophet? That seems so punishable here, though.
I mean, they could roam pretty effectively on him, I feel like.
With Ogre or Night Stalker, either one of those could pressure him in the jungle and prevent him
Like,
from
he's
farming.
not ever safe to farm.
I think the goal is put him in the off lane, and then whenever Ogre and Night Stalker move around the map to do aggressive stuff, he can show up and try to turn things.
Okay.
It gives you that extra right click in every single team fight or every single gank.
I think they just want some... They know the Anti-Mage is going to be farming, and he might not be the safest. He might not be in the safest position in the world, so they're just going to have the Nature's Prophet TP in. If they try to gank him, he'll be around the map. If Night Stalker is trying to do something, like, it's pretty much what you said. I mean,
But isn't this a very greedy draft from Monkey Business? You have
I think so.
very weak lanes, like very weak lanes.
Very. Pre-6, like your lanes are
I mean, you
terrible.
really rely
They do
on
nothing.
You really rely on the Nature's Prophet kind of coming to your rescue a lot of the times, I think.
I feel like there's a lot of pressure on the Beastmaster to control the tempo of the game. I mean, he has to hit level 6 first, but...
I'm worried about their pre-6.
Yeah, exactly.
Even when they hit 6, then yeah, Beastmaster is really relevant. One of the Chinese teams today had a similar problem. They had a pretty greedy draft. They didn't have a lot of stuns. Beastmaster went Blink first, and it helped a lot, rather than going for the Necro build, because they had to set things up. So maybe that'll work out for them, but I honestly, right now, Navi's lineup is just so good as soon as the game starts.
Yeah.
On a mid Beastmaster, is the Eggs first a viable build to kind of control the game? We haven't seen that in a while.
Ricky.
Holy Toledo.
I really like this pick.
That's
I'm
also
sure that
great
was
against Anti-Mage.
I'm sure that was Havo's idea.
Yeah.
And it's
Havo's
great
like, "Give me
against
that,
this
Ricky."
heavy melee core, great against Nature's Prophet
He also
as well.
gets 2 fish.
Yeah, he really loves that. He really loves
And the
this fish.
2-fish build.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's hard to beat that.
Yeah.
Pick rate is 0.3%. This is basically a hero that doesn't get picked at
Ever.
all. 0 and 4 win-loss, though. He did get buffed very slightly. It was for HP regen.
Although I think Diffusal Blade change is a huge buff.
Oh, yeah, that too.
That's just no longer a counter ever.
Yeah.
I think you touched on it though. I think the most important thing is it just it counters AM.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he actually does a ton of damage early on in the game.
He's pretty good
He
against
can roam
Tusk as
too.
well. I mean, Tusk, the snowball, if you put a smoke cloud down, gets rid of that reset tool.
I mean, you're not going to sit in lane and farm with a Ricky, presumably. I mean, I'm not a Ricky expert. I don't pick Ricky. I don't play against Ricky that often.
Farm until you get your Diffusal Blade or your Yasha or something like that. I mean, there's a couple different builds. I like the Undying, though. That's going to help out.
This is
one of the
one
lanes.
beefy lineup.
Yeah,
My God.
whatever
Very
lane that
tanky.
he's in is going to help out that lane. But
All right.
I don't know.
So we need our quick predictions here, Maul. We're going to start with you again. Which of these crazy drafts are you liking better, my man?
You know, I like the Ricky. Let's go.
All right, going with the Ricky. You're like, I don't know Ricky. I've never played against a Ricky. I don't play with Ricky.
I shouldn't put,
but
I
I'm
shouldn't
voting
put it
for the
that
Ricky.
way. I want the Ricky to win.
All right.
Let's just put it that way.
I like your style. Purge, what are you thinking?
I'm going to do Navi as well. I think their early game is really strong. I think the Ricky counters almost all the heroes on Monkey, so I'm going to go with Navi.
There's a high propensity to fail on the Monkey Business side, so I'm going to go with Ricky.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be the one that goes with Monkey Business this time. I think they're going to find the magic to make it work. Maybe the Beastmaster can do it after all. Time will tell. But with that, we're going to hand it over to our casters. Toby and Cap going to take it over for Game 2.
Welcome everybody here to game number 2 of Navi versus Monkey. This is meant to be Dota, but it is now Ricky. That's what we get.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I was looking at that last pick from Navi, and I was going, boy, this is going to be really tough because I'm looking at some of the traditional heroes like Gyrocopter. You can't really pick that up. I don't feel against Monkey Business's team, Tusk and Beastmaster will just get in your face, but maybe they just go for it anyway because team fight potential. Maybe they get a pushing hero. You mentioned Luna, and I was like, no, Toby, that'd be terrible. And even I was like starting to consider like, okay, maybe they get the Luna just pushing power, 5-man team fight, who knows? But Riki. Okay, so here's the things that Riki can offer you, right? He's actually rather good at shutting down Anti-Mage when he, as Purge said, like all you really need to do is farm up like a diffusal blade. And once you have that, your ganking prowess is insane. Especially, it's even more absurd now with the Blink Strike. The Blink Strike actually offers you, it's really frustrating to play against because he always keeps up with you, first of all. But even when you try and fight him underneath the smoke, say you realize, okay, I'm not going to get out of the smoke in time, I'll just turn and fight as best as possible. You know what he does, Toby? He Blink Strikes. It's behind you, and then you have to turn around in the smoke to face him again, and he Blink Strikes you again. He's still able to do that insane backstab damage, even when you turn and fight him underneath the smoke screen. But this... I'm looking at this lineup and going, okay, Na'Vi, once again, like, have to do really well in the early game, otherwise they're just going to lose the late game. And I felt they had a better chance in game 1 against Monkey Business, so I'm personally looking at this as Monkey Business are going to win this game 2. But maybe they're just like, now they're warmed up, now they're going to perform better in the early game. Maybe they won't make some of those mistakes, kind of dropped game 1 for them and gave that early advantage, or at least didn't gain the early advantage that Na'Vi needed last time, but... we'll see. I mean, the lanes are already going to be a bit interesting.
Yeah, it's this Night Stalker versus Animage with support Dazzle. So there's not really a lot of bite here. And when Fly moves over, Funnick and PSM are going to have a lot of problems. And Miracle's purposely fighting here. Levels up Mana Break to try and force out the Dazzle, remove any kind of heal, and then Fly starts spamming out his Decay. Missed on the first hit, but it won't really matter. How well No-Tel goes up against Dendy. It's one of these lanes which I was very questionable about, because, yeah, you do... okay, are they really battling it out in top lane? So hard. Fly getting just lit up by that Ignite. And they bring in Crit as well, so this turns into a try-on-try lane.
Yeah, you knew Na'Vi were going to run some sort of aggression, and the response from Monkey Business was like the last pick Undying. Just because you think about it, in tri-lane versus tri-lane scenarios, what's the best support that's left? Normally you'd be looking at some sort of range support, but in order just to win the laning phase, something like, you know, Ancient Apparition, Winter Wyvern, Rubik, those kind of supports aren't actually going to do enough in this lane for you to be able to win it. So Undying, yeah, you have to double melee support it, but let's face it, Undying is the toughest hero to beat in a 3 versus 3 because Decay is just too powerful.
It's just so strong, man.
Yeah.
The other lanes, though, like this Beastmaster is not having the greatest time. 5-for-1 up against 10-for-1 of Dandy, but you always expect Lina to have the upper hand, and he keeps getting kills on both the Boars and the Hawks. So the control factor is there. The bottom lane is kind of like our other protocol, because you talk about like the power of the Rikimaru, the ability to strike in all the time. Okay, they're going to commit Tombstone, and Snako isolated by the shards. They'll snowball in to keep this control up. It actually breaks through the tree line, and he wants to bloodlust away, but Miracle blinking forward, gives a body block, and then gets first blood. Funnick will be able to return in, so the Animate will end up dying as PSM once more, putting that poison on the Crit. The Fly, he just keeps up with the Decay. PSM's got 500 life. Under that, in fact, just punch him down by Fly will do the work. And that's going to be now a double kill. Only, sorry, 1 kill coming in for the Undying. It's a 2-for-2 trade-off after that.
Who knew it was going to be a double damage Dazzle that determined the outcome of that fight? Like, he just comes in and he does so much damage to Miracle, he can't actually get out in time. If it wasn't for that extra damage, I think he lives, and so too does the Tusk. Then they would have been in a great position. But they're still okay, because the Undying got so much experience out of that now he's going to have either level 2 Tombstone or he goes Soul Rip. Soul Rip has an incredible amount of value at level 1, and I oftentimes like to get it at level 3 just because, okay, what if your ally is being gone on? Soul Rip can make the world a difference instead of just having more power on your Tombstone.
Man, this bottom lane, I was wondering exactly how it would go, because I didn't think Evor's really had enough damage to battle up against Moomiander, and Moomiander's actually standing inside the cloud battling against Evor's with that PMS up. But the Invis regeneration, it's kind of crazy. It still happens even when you're visible. It's not like with Slark, where if you're visible, then like you kind of lose your ultimate. But
Moon is dead.
No,
wait.
He's able to sprout and TP out. You can put down the cloud, but when you use a TP scroll like that, you get away to safety, and he can just TP back into the lane. So the gank will end up failing.
Go Moon. That was a really smart play, because I was just expecting him to try and regular TP out. And then, you know, the smoke stops him, he can't do anything.
And then he comes to steal the cloud as well as the farm. I mean, the rune as well as the the farm here takes the regeneration room from Snako.
Yeah, but he's playing this very well. Like, he knew exactly what he needed to do. Get the Orb of Venom, get the Ring of Basilisk, which is a great laning phase item. Like, it gives you everything you need. Armor, the regen for spamming out treants more, as well as an increase of damage. Like, the 1v1 potential that Ring of Basilisk offers you
in
is
trouble.
Great.
Gank on mid lane, Desphonic rotating around the back end. Starts with the Void, the TP support's finally coming in. The Axe will clean up the lane. The ball is slowing down Dendy a lot. They snowballed in. So Crit will be able to get the revenge kill over on the Lina. Yes, you lose your Beastmaster, but Dendy committed so heavily to come onto that tower to make that work.
Yeah, that was really close to it actually going terribly for Na'Vi because Crit almost managed to pick up the Beastmaster inside the snowball, and then the Beastmaster is actually the one who dies second, and then it's a big win. But the fact that Lina gets the kill first on the Beastmaster does offer him an advantage. He'll get his level 6 a little bit quicker. In fact, he already has it. Laguna Blade ready to go. You may even see another kill on Big Daddy No Tail before he hits his 6.
At the same time, because you got that the big solo, he's the most CS'd hero on the map, Dendy. You give all of that experience solo over to the Tuskar, it means your movement with the Tuskar is going to be even better.
Nice job by Funnick in the top lane. What he did, played the nighttime very aggressively. Actually went for the second level in Hunter in the Night, which you see a lot with Night Stalkers that they feel like the silence isn't going to offer them enough. So he just pushed the advantage against Fly, forces out the Tombstone, and then immediately runs back with that extra movement speed that he has during night, and only has like one zombie spawn on him. And now the Anti-Mage isn't going to be feeling as brave about pushing forward without that fighting power of 2.
He's going to be more careful of the rest of the time, but he's still got good regeneration because he knows he's building into both Battle Fury as well as Vlad, so having the ring as well as the Ring of Regen, Ring of Health and Ring of Regen together, like the regeneration is enough to let him work, and if things do get rough, he can just Soul Rip. So Miracle's got that lifeline, and then, yep, Moon Meander. They cut through, and he'll dive underneath his own tier 1 tower. Vorst with him. There's no Cloud. He's still got those Venom Strikes available. One more charge, but then in comes the extra support. The Wrath of Nature connects, and the Isolate Funnick with the Sprout. Fly was here, was the soul of the gave Moon Meander even more life, and the Snowball follow-up. It'll be a double kill for Moon Meander. Nature's Prophet with momentum is being gained. Phase boots as well, so his damage now just goes through the roof when it comes to lane harass.
Every single time I watch Moon, I feel like he's playing better and better. I mean, I'm not going to say that Sprout, like, what a brilliant play by him because, he just sprouted and it happened to push the Riki out. I think that was just a bit of good fortune for him. But the fact that, he recognized that he could have turn potential there with his ultimate, he throws on the other side of the map to get the most amount of damage, turns and fights the Riki to make sure he doesn't give away that backstack damage, and gets healed by the Undying. Great communication from Monkey Business, good rotations, and then, again, the power of that Soul Rip coming into play. No Tail's very dead.
There's a double damage over on the Lina and a simple rotation in from Horvost to make it work. At the same time, Moon Meander TP to the top lane. Now, he came up here to join Miracle, but he did it underneath a Radiant Observer Ward. So Na'Vi are very much aware of where Moon Meander is on the map. And while they do this, they then give the space to Crit on the bottom lane. So maybe this is all about just getting that Walrus Punch up and running.
Yeah, this is... normally you look at your carries or your mids to be the one rotating into the jungle and utilizing that and freeing up space for a 4 position to get farm.
They're coming in.
Oh, they're
That
getting
G1
the
tower
tower.
at the bottom lane. They actually sprout to ensure the last hit, so Avos cannot mess with it.
Yeah, and Avos, like, he's got the permanent invisibility maxed out. Like, he doesn't offer that much offensive power, but they also can't kill him.
Yeah,
the rotation like that is just for the tower.
Like, you actually just attack, then you go back into Invis, and you get 12 health regen up for that Ricky Mares. Even that harassment with the phase boot build, maybe that's like one thing we could question, where the phase boots is purely like that movement speed and damage during the fight, but it doesn't let him harass Vorst out of the lane. And now Fly, okay, they're going to go with Crit. Dropping the Tombstone. Seneko, he's still got a path out here, but the Undying minions are right on his tail, and they're not going to commit any further to this. The Tombstone's already getting mopped up by Vorst as well as BSM. Soul Rip make him work a little bit harder for it.
Oh, but they might still be able to force a fight here with Big Daddy actually being
like
invis.
Like, with the Tombstone down, you got to have such confidence here as Na'Vi and Dendy. The shards will fly out, and yep, they find the kill. Nature's Prophet, kill secure. With that Wrath of Nature, and they can go for more. Snakeo's on the run, and Prophet TP's forward. The stun will do a little bit, but that's that cast time. You just go for it. Cut through the tree line. Snako can't bloodlust himself out this one. Another 2 heroes of Na'Vi being picked off as monkeys. They bring 4 heroes this middle lane as quick rotations all across the map.
Yeah, again, and we have yet to see the Riki actually go and shut down the Animage just yet, which I really feel like that's what the Riki offers in potential.
But once he gets to that point, like, because if he shuts down the Animage, you give more space for NOTA to catch up, because he's already looking towards that Necro book. I'm assuming that's also what he's building. He could just finish up the treads, but...
Yeah, but if you guys haven't don't really see the storyline of this game, it's the fact that Na'Vi they needed to be able to win some of the early game, and they're just losing it now against the aggression of Toss Undying. As you can see, another pick off.
Wow, Avos jumps in for this one. Laguna Blade flies so low, and he can't soar it because of the cloud. But again, the Sprout, Moonmian will be there. They do get the kill on Fly, and Moonmian doesn't really have the damage to help out because his ulti is still on cooldown. So there's 2 hero kills coming the way of Na'Vi. The Courier, also not the greatest thing in the world to feed it out, and Crip will just TP himself away to safety. A little bit of missed micro of the Courier, so that's a really good fight there for Na'Vi. Good cash coming their way, but they're still not closing down the Anti-Mage.
Yeah, the Anti-Mage is definitely going to be pretty concerning. The fact that they tried to shut him out in the laning phase, it didn't really work, and he's still getting free farm. He'll have a Battle Fury. It's actually looking like he'll have it by 13 minutes. He doesn't have regular boots, though, and that's a big difference. He's even more susceptible now to this smoke screen of Havos. If they get double slows on him underneath, I don't think he leaves that cloud, just because he's going to go down to 100 movement speed.
I was actually wondering what Nature's Prophet was going to build. You got 4.4k gold, and initially I was like, well, is he going to build an Orchid in this game? Looks like they do have an opening right now, a Miracle, but he gets out of the cloud. Funnick wasn't there in time, and it was still daytime as well.
Yeah, you got to point that out, right? Na'Vi very critically needed to pick off the Animage there in order to slow down that Battle Fury. They rotated 3 heroes up, and it was just a simple mistake. Vos kind of jumped the gun. He didn't have the smoke screen in the best spot.
There's the Raw. There's no mana for a Shallow Grave, so PSM's dead no matter what here, but Moonmiana jumps in again, and he uses the Sprite to block out Havos, but a big stun from Dendi. It buys a little bit of time, but how much time is really required? Havos back at Ibis, they drop the Sentry Ward underneath the tower so they can shut up Havos, killing him off. Dendi, he just physically damages down the Tusker. Crip finding himself just a little bit too deep under that tower. But you've already taken 2 hero kills. You take the tower directly after when you have an Nature's Prophet.
Yeah, with the lineup that isn't really supposed to be ready yet. Granted, I don't think Na'Vi's lineup is the greatest in the first 10-15 minutes, but the impetus is definitely on them to try and force action and keep Monkey Business shut down. That's Riki offers an insane amount of damage in the early to mid game.
But
Night
he's not
Stalker's
offering
early
it now.
game based. Yeah.
Because that was the one thing in which, Purge was saying, what do you do with the Ricky Murray? You sit there and you farm up Yasha or you farm up Diffusal Blade. Right now, Havos has Ring.
Well, he would offer damage if they had the disables to go with it, right? The problem is everyone's just leaving the cloud so quickly.
Oh, Fly needs to Soul Rip, but actually just left him. Trying to run himself out this one. Now, he can actually not get himself a big decay. They're still on cooldown. There's 14 one charges. Miracle's just sitting there farming next to his dying teammate. So they'll let both of them die, but this is a 5-man move from Na'Vi, resulting in a double kill for Dendi.
No, I mean, this is supposed to be what Na'Vi's doing, is kind of running over the heroes of Monkey Business, because you look at Monkey Business, they're not supposed to be able to fight yet. They don't have the Battle Fury, Manta on AM, and they won't have it for some time. Beastmaster invested into a Necro Book, which as a mid laner, he's pretty slow in that regard. He's not nearly as high tempo as Lina or Queen of Pain, someone like that. And then Furion, Moonmeander's doing very well, but it's not necessarily the most aggressive hero either. Great pickup, though, by Funnick. They're cutting down the tree.
They're going bottom lane. Moonmeander being initiated on. And with that silence, he wants to TP himself out. This one now attempts it, but the damage is too much. So Moonmeander will die, but Na'Vi stopped their push on middle lane with this. So Monkey's still holding onto all their tier 1 towers, which doesn't seem like much now, but when you're running a Nature's Prophet, having that front position all the time, you could just go into full lane control, because I'm still wondering how Na'Vi deal with split push.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Na'Vi need to be able to push down tier 1s and tier 2s in the first 30 minutes of this game, and gank around and shut down the Furion as well as the enemy.
This is a nice way to start it, though. Havos behind the tower, revealing out where Monkeys is, and then they just jump in. They start with the cloud. Crit can't do anything. Beastmaster being focused down, but it's not enough. You'll get the Roar on Dendy and the Undying Tombstone doing a lot of work before it's finally brought down. The Shallow Graves on Dendy, and they'll actually cancel that TP out. So goodbye, Dendy. They move into PSM and fly with that ulti. They're just running it down. Funnick will finally come and join the battle. That helps to bring down Notel, but Fly is still a huge beast in this fight. So is Miracle, involved in everything. It's a 3-for-1 trade-off. The Sprout could not control anything more. Horse actually just jumping himself up now, but locked in by the shards. He'll get beaten down as Animage finding yet another kill here. He's 2-1-2, and as always, with this lineup from Monkeys, you take a fight, you take a tower.
Yeah, great idea of Na'Vi kind of setting that one up in a way, and maybe Crick.
Walrus Punch, they can
Funnick.
sprout him.
Yeah.
If he's not careful, he's got the Quelling Blade, so he can cut free, but...
But here's the thing, the last pick of Monkey Business, you're fighting into an Undying. Really tough hero to go on. They should have locked him down first, I believe. I don't think that you go for the Beast Smash in these scenarios. I know it's a rough call, but the Tombstone offers too much. So the moment the Tombstone was down, I was like, Monkey Business won the fight. Because then there's no control in the Undying. He offers the Soul Rip with all the extra zombies, all the extra creeps. He gets this maxed out heal on the Beast Smasher, which is quite significant. You saw the way he lived through that. Was able to get the Primal Roar, and everything goes bad for Na'Vi from there. Not having the Night Stalker in the beginning of that fight as well. Like, if Night Stalker came in through the side and silenced the Undying as they went, the fight goes a lot better for Na'Vi. But it's simple execution that we saw. Maybe like they messed up a bit in the first 15 minutes of Game 1, and it's costing them even more in Game 2.
The Aghanims move from Moon Meander. Like I already said, the split push is going to be difficult for Na'Vi, but having the ability to summon that many Treants across the map.
Toby, I'll be happy if I see a Mega Treant. If he can, I've yet to see it. If you get a kill with the Wrath of Nature on a hero, and I get a chance to see what a Mega Treant looks like and what it can do, I'll die happy.
What's it going to look like a raid boss Treant? I haven't seen one yet myself.
It's essentially like 4 times the regular Treant or something. I think it does like 50 damage a hit or something absurd.
Okay, so it's not that terrific, but it'll look interesting. Notel being initiated on. Horse chasing after him, but again, Notel able to run himself out of the cloud. Very tanky. Already having that level 1 Necrobook, and Dendy wants to keep going for this. Like, if he could use up the Light Strike array, he'd have a chance. But now he's actually used the LSA, and Notel turns around. But okay, didn't really want him. That was 4 heroes just walking over the top of the Beastmaster, and now they will take a Tier 1 tower. And this is their first of the game as well.
Na'Vi, yeah, good on you just running through that Tier 1 tower. Big Daddy Notel sitting there going like, oh yeah, you're not going to go into this Tier 1 tower dive because my allies will TP in. But the problem is with TPs, they're not going to be set up well enough. Last team fight, yeah, they already have their Tombstone down instantly and the heals to be able to respond. If they have staggered responses from Monkey Business, it'll go pretty bad for them.
I still don't know if it's really worth it to get what they got. Like, you take a Tier 1 tower and you take out the Beastmaster. But Miracle has the Battle Fury up nice and early. He's farming his heart up, and he's going to have so much space because of the way the Prophet also synergizes with the lineup, because he just triggers off the Aghanims, and all the lanes just start pushing then. So the Animage can take over his own jungle, he take over the Radiant jungle, because Na'Vi are concerned about just controlling the lane. Looks like middle lane again, Notel's being initiated on. They are really just hating into this Beastmaster, and Moomian is hoping for some kind of collateral here. The Necro units are down, but he can't get the Sprout locked, so instantly just takes out the tree line. And yeah, they're not going to find anything here. But it's just the synergy where you just create so much space for the anti-mage that doesn't even matter that Notel has died now 7 times in 17 minutes.
Yeah, that's definitely on Notel. Like, you got to be a little bit more aware that the Riki could be on you at any point in time, and he slows you down quite significantly. And that'll get worse once we see a Diffusal Blade out of him.
But where's the Riki's items? Has he got something else? Like, Funnick is...
No, he doesn't have very much farm.
Funnick is building into this Aghanim Scepter, which is great for him. In fact, he is quite close to the Ags.
You need like 3 times the number of kills on a Riki because you spend so much time rotating, and like, you're a carry that scouts for your team. Yep. That's not very efficient at all. And if you don't get kills for that scouting, you're going to fall well behind in net worth. And you see that right now. He's 5,200 net worth. He's behind Funnick by a large amount. That's just one of the big downsides of running a Riki 1 position.
I would still be happy in a way for this because you need the Aghanim Scepter in order to fight monkeys properly. So having that over on Funnick is going to be a huge upgrade for him. What would you say, like when we're doing in the draft, like Night Stalker doesn't do anything during the fights, but you always have an advantage in the late game.
Yeah, it's funny, right? Night Stalker, like the reason there's so much hype around that Ags is the fact that, like, late game, he doesn't offer that much to you except vision, but that's all it needs.
Here it is. That Wrath of Nature was able to connect, but Dendy being Yule Scepter up, which means he shouldn't pop out to the big... I'm sorry, it doesn't happen. Then again, actually, Moonbeam doesn't finish the ag, so it doesn't really matter either. But Dendy getting picked off.
Let's see, Dazzle.
Dendy's actually going to go for a Shadow Blade. There's no Aghanim Scepter build for him. Because he picks up the Shadow Amulet.
Okay, so the key point of time, I'm not sure if I like the Blink Dagger on Tusk here. I agree, being able to jump the Lina or the Dazzle will make the team fight a lot easier for you, but I think the saving defensive measures of a Force Staff would make a lot more sense for the Monkey Business heroes because Smoke Screen is such a potent disable against a lot of their heroes. But he's going to go for the more offensive pickup. They also have an Aegis, so maybe this offensive pickup will work out for them, especially in this position where they could get a really good Ice Shards block.
The jump forward, he missed the Walrus Punch. He could have actually just flipped Funnick on his head. But they missed the target, and now all Monkeys want to do is just back the hell out of here. You got the ASC model on the back of Miracle. This protects your Animage farm for now. And the Nature's Prophet now starts the Aghanim's push. It's... The dream is alive for Moon Meander. As well as myself. The Prophet is back.
I called it with you earlier when we were talking about it. Shadow Blade. This is an NA thing where you've got two different players, Susie and one other, who pick up the Shadow Blade after Yule Scepter constantly. It's much more rare to see in the European region, but it's really good in this game. I love it.
Well, it already goes to work
because they have to play so hyper aggressive.
Is this team going to work? Like Funnick, well, there's your Ags. Miracle wants to try and fight this. They'll snowball in, and Dendy going to get punched up and towards the air and instantly brought down. The Wrath of Nature will still connect out. There's a lot of bonus damage, and Funnick, they're fighting underneath this tombstone, and Na'Vi can't even reach it. The trees, as well as the Undying Minions, are making a wall, and they just cannot get close enough. PSM, the Shallow Grave keeps him alive a little bit longer, but Fly will get himself a triple kill. This is just an absolute meat shield. But Vorst on the run out of here, he doesn't have any kind of detection, so they don't see where Ricky Maru is.
Yeah, I kind of expected Necrobook out of Moon because the way this game is kind of set up. But
she still triggered the Dust. They popped 2 Sentry Wards as well as Dust, expecting that Vorst is still somewhere here, but he's farming up in the Dire Jungle. He also spent his money before. I thought he's actually got the 2 Blade of Alacrity sitting on the Radiant Courier. So this Diffuser Blade isn't that far away.
I want to give a quick shout out to Crit, who played. He was the only one who died from Monkey Business, but he played it the smartest. He got his initiation, and when he was jumped on by the Riki, he did something that No Tail did not when he got caught out in the middle lane, which was he turned and fought the Riki underneath the shield. Didn't try and get out from underneath the smoke. He just delays his own death a good 2 to 3 seconds because of that. Because that's where all the Riki's damage is coming from right now, is that backstab.
And what the Force want to do is start using all these strikes to like just kill off a Tusker.
Yeah, exactly. And so then it's another 2 or 3 seconds under Tombstone.
Oh, actually blinks over the top of him. The silence will be there, the Void as well, but in come your shards, and it locks Funnick in close. But they're looking for more. They find the Beastmaster out of position once again, and walking into the middle of the smoke, Denny will go for the Yule Scepter. No Line Striker rated combo with Miracle, and a Force very visible, jumping up a little bit further. They snowball after him, and the Shallow Grave is down, but another double Ice Striker raid, this time from Denny. Where is your follow-up? There's no Laguna Blade available for him anymore, so it's still a 2-euro pickoff until the Nano Void burning out into Funnick, taking out Dendy, and they want more. The double summons a Miracle. This may do the work, but remember, he's still got this Aegis model, so you kill off an Anti-Mage, but really, what is the cost right now? Fly's retreating out, but he's done so many decays, got 5 decays. They'll finally bring him down. And Miracle's not going to fight this. He's going to let Moon Meander die. He's on the run out of here as quick as he possibly can. Move to the trees, but your trees will not protect you. You'll just keep getting stunned up because of the unstructured vision that the Night Stalker does grant. The Vorst will find himself a double kill. And Miracle just says, screw this. I'm pushing the middle lane. Like, I force Na'Vi to come back. I make it so they cannot push the lane.
Yeah, Miracle pushed forward to go for the Lina, which is obviously what you need to do as the Animage every single time. Burn through his mana, get the big threatening mana void that potentially catches multiple heroes.
Sentry Ward down for Crit. Now, Crit needs some help. Miracle can come. Oh no, that's not the time to help Miracle!
No.
Okay, there's the Raw. They'll find the pickoff. I thought for a moment Miracle was going to block Crit so much that Funnick would actually find that kill before death.
I think Crit, like, he was totally baiting that one. He knew he had 10 magic stick charges. He knew that the snowball was going to be up as soon as the silence faded. So he just brings them back to his allies. The moment the silence fades, he's going to be fine because he can snowball and ice shards. And bottom lane looks like they'll get a kill on Beastmaster.
That's 10 deaths now for the Beastmaster. He's been sitting on this level 1 Necrobook for so long. Then reveal Dendy. Dendy moving into the trees. Another Sentry Ward having to be dropped, but he just runs it. That Soul Rip hurts so much. And Dendy's Shadow Blade's going to last long enough.
Yeah, they didn't have
They
the
could
dust.
prepare the secondary Sentry Ward, though. Like, Snakeo's moving over to help him out, and okay, they'll just let it go.
But yeah, going back to the earlier fight the Monkey Business lost, they ran away from their Tombstone. And they can't go into these long, extended team fights where their damage is very spread against a Dazzle when no one's threatening the Dazzle. Like, PSM literally got off like 1,200, 1,400 heal or something in that long, drawn-out team fight because he was just sitting in the back, Shadow Wave, Shadow Wave, Shadow Wave, and Monkey Business didn't focus their damage nor did they threaten the Dazzle.
Dendy's coming up for a kill. Miracle just wants to get out of here. Like, he's just about to get the money. In fact, now does have the money for the full Manta style. So at least he can break free. But that Diffusal Blade being up for Rikimaru makes it very difficult for Monkeys to even run away from these fights.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, I'm not seeing the BKB on Moon Meander. In fact, it almost looks like he's thinking about going an Octarine Core on this Nature's Prophet. Unless that point booster is meant to be for something else, but...
I mean, you could go into Scotty, but...
It'd be...
I mean, you would stat up a lot. I'm not sure if that's really the builds. Octarine Core, I'm not sure if that's the build either. That would be really weird, but I suppose if you're spamming it out, what, like every 45 seconds? Wrath of Nature is tough to beat in a split push game.
Top lane, the fight's coming in. They just lost vision of Avast, however. Notal was preparing for the Roar, and the Tombstone is down in the tree line. So Monkey's not in a good position to fight this one at all. But Na'Vi, they just fall back. The middle lane's being pushed out. The bottom lane's pushing pretty heavily as well. Like, the Wrath of Nature bounces through all the lanes, and there's all of a sudden triggers to be farmed up everywhere. There's kind of a bit of a downside about this. Like, you get a whole bunch of treants on the map, but there's also so much more economy that Na'Vi can just farm up when you don't control it.
You know what's funny, Toby? That's usually my... the big point that I hit on all the time with these split push, but I think in this game it doesn't matter because I don't really see, like, it's not like Ogre Magi can farm those very quickly. He's one of the supports that would get a benefit out of it. I don't think Dazzle gets a huge benefit. The Lina hits sort of like a peak point once you have that Aghanim Scepter. Yes, you can go into like the Refresher and things like that, but I think that you just guarantee stall out this game. Yes, you're bumping up the economy of Na'Vi in some way, but they don't have the great heroes to farm it. Their offlane, like Night Stalker doesn't do anything about, you know, Furion pushes, so I think that Monkey Business are fine. We're just like, okay, you can take a couple of Treant kills every now and again, but we're drawing out the game another 10 minutes.
Sentry
because
goes
of that.
down, Havors is moving over, and they trigger the dust on him. There's your Roar. They'll fight underneath the smoke screen. They even drop down. Oh, I think that might be a little bit of overkill, but the secondary Sentry Ward and the Necro Books were also triggered. Roshan's still down for a while, so they can't really capitalize on this. But it's so much space. The Anti-Mage has 15,000 net worth and rising rapidly.
But No-Tail really needed this Necro Book 3 a lot earlier because it's awkward for the supports because they have to carry both counters as well as dust because the Diffusal Blade is just like, boom, instant remove the dust.
But where do you find the space for No-Tail to farm this? Like,
well,
wherever
would help.
Yeah, that would help, but he's up against an invisible force of Rikimaru, and he keeps finding him too. And then Dendy, another invisible force by having this Shadow Blade. I'm actually really surprised the Monkeys just haven't committed into getting, like, the gem. Like, I know the Necro Book's going to do a lot of that work for you, but... Okay, they're going to fight this.
Okay, this is...
Phonics triggers the ulti, but they got Sentry Wards down here. Monkeys is prepared to fight on this hillside. They want Dendy to move forward so Tuskar can initiate. And now they've caught out Phonic. The perfect shard control. Phonic's got no way out this one. Miracle jumps forward. The Shallow Grave will keep Phonic alive. They four-starve him away. But where's that Mana Boy? Where's the stun? Okay, the damage lasts long enough anyway. And of course, they trigger the dust. He'll be able to Phantom Strike himself away here, but Rikimaru, okay, another strike has to be used. I should say Blink Strike, not Phantom.
Yeah, did you see the line I drew? I was just like, they're going to draw them into this trap where they're going to be like, no, don't take our Ancient stack, and they're going to move forward and they're going to get Ice Shards blocked.
Snowball, they jump in, perfect sharp block on Denny as well as BSM. Wrath of Nature bounces around, and Avast, the Shallow Grave will have to be used to protect him now. As again, he has to Blink Strike himself away to safety. Another double stun as well from Denny will buy space, but the Mana Void and the Soul Rip from Undying hits perfectly. Avast, well, he's just on the run, flies right behind him, and there's that gem. They see Avast and fly, he's in too deep. He's going to lose the Gem of True Sight, but instantly regathered by Crit. 4 heroes down for Na'Vi, and Monkeys, they are just man-moding down this mid lane. The tier 3 tower fortification has to trigger. The buyback does come out from Dendi, and he's looking for the kill. Yule set her up, Laguna Blade is available, and Moon Meander's in a bit of trouble. He's got a lot of life behind him, however. Goes for the Sprout, TP out, but he's still visible, being that close to the base of Na'Vi. And he'll lose his life for this one. And it is actually the Octarine build, unless he's still considering Bloodstone.
Yeah.
But
I mean, again, it's an interesting choice. You just draw out the game. Monkey Business. The thing is, Na'Vi, earlier, like 8 minutes ago, you kind of look at the kill score and go, okay, Na'Vi, you're doing all right. They're ganking some of these heroes a lot. They're doing okay, but they weren't getting towers. And ultimately, like, I make a joke about Hotel. Yeah, he crits. Oh!
LOL. LOL! Blink himself away, they can't reach him. And now they can actually try and turn this one. The blink forward by Miracle. Notel's not in range, however. He's got no maneuverability items to catch up to get that roar off. And looks like Na'Vi now want to go for Roshan. But you got the Beastmaster Hawk that can keep the vision up. Obviously, Funnick with an Aghanim Scepter can see it coming in. But at least Monkeys know that Roshan is alive.
The important thing is that, I mean, he lost the gem earlier. When they went for that contest on the Ancient stack and he got blocked out by the Ice Shards, he dropped the gem, and now they don't have that guarantee that when they move around his 5 like this, they'll be able to take away the vision on Monkey Business.
Yeah. The fact they actually give it over to Monkey. Like, I thought they're going to regather it, because it was dropped at one point by Tusker. But it's been regathered up by Notel. So now you've got Hawks to scout out all of these wards. Na'Vi will be taking Roshan. Monkeys are not in any kind of position to contest this. You're TPing down to the tier 2 tower and the sigil's coming, but it's already too late. Na'Vi just have way too much damage for this. And there's going to be a second life arriving for the Ricky Maru. And this is as he is buying into that Basher. So the control factor is there.
All right, every 45 seconds, Wrath of Nature. You know what? I think what this also does... Oh, it does! I thought I remembered this. Okay, if Night Stalker... Okay, Night Stalker has a Quelling Blade. Ogre Magi has a Force Staff. Enrique, I guess, has Blink. But if you ever catch a hero without Quelling Blade and without a way to clear through trees, you can keep them there. It's 6-second duration on Sprout. It's 6-second cooldown. You can just keep a hero there constantly. Obviously, it's not a real thing, but...
It's a nice little troll thing for you, at least.
Yeah.
That battle is still going on. Fly's going to drop, and these are 2 very quick pickoffs. Avors wants to go for more, and they can do so. They get that Light Strike Array over on crit. There's not enough mana for Laguna Blade, however, so Dendi unable to get that instant kill over on crit, which you would really love to get, but the bash going to work here from Avors, and they're just moving one to the next. Miracle triggers the BKB, as now will be the Beastmaster who kills off PSM. In death, the Necro units and other minions do the work. But the top tower's been taken out. Monkeys just continues to push.
Yeah, Monkey Business.
Split push, I should say.
This is why I keep saying that they're kind of sloppy, is that was a rather sloppy play where they could have just given up one hero, the Beastmaster, and then it turns into the, okay, the Undying's dead as well. Yeah, slight mistake. Then the Tusk gets caught as well, and then the Animage gets caught and is forced to use his BKB. Yeah, Monkey Business is still very far ahead, but it's going to be plays like that that allow Na'Vi back into the game.
So, Samiko, how do you kill a whole bunch of trees when you're an ogre?
Miracle? This should be okay.
Yeah, he's able to mana and get himself out. In fact, now Havost being trapped. This is the Aegis Immortal, and he still had himself another Blink Strike to get away. But that whole rip damage, it hurts so much. And Ricky Maru still on the run. The Snowball and the Axe will connect. They have Walrus Punch available as well as Raw. So they can lock down Havost. There goes your Raw. The smoke screen is down, but they're just man-moding this, and there goes Havost. Miracle coming for the kill, secure with the Mana Void, but Funnick, he's going to be isolated, sprouted up, and there's your blink forward. It'll be Undying to find the last pickoffs now. It's Na'Vi's turn to feed kill after kill, and that's a lot of trance.
Miracle baited that. I was looking there going like, Miracle, you okay? Like he's staying in this smoke, but I think it was outside of the smoke, but he was hit by the Night Stalker's silence, and he was just like waited, and then Manta blink out. He knew he was going to be fine. He just kept those heroes long enough that the rest of his allies could come in and respond, and boom, they've gotten 2 kills. They've taken away the Aegis of Na'Vi. They're just being, I think, so outplayed. Monkey Business are displaying that they're just such a stronger team.
Yep. I kind of want to have like a tree encounter on this map right now, because there's like...
Moon's going Dakin. Moon's a Dakin.
Wait, what? Why? I suppose, like, well, your cooldown is 26-25. You lower it somehow. Ensures the insta kill if you can get it over on the Ricky Maru. And they're going to TP bottom lane. So Miracle's just that frontline man. They get the double life strike array. Denny keeps finding these, but there's no follow-up from the rest of Na'Vi. And the Treant army on the top lane is so big, it's adding so much pressure that Na'Vi, they're still losing out in this round. Moomiana goes for, again, another Wrath of Nature. Bounces through the heroes so heavily, and more Treants get created. Like, I'm actually seeing more Treants than I normally see Spiderlings in a Broodmother game. They're just everywhere. It's a plague. It's an infestation of trees. At least we'll be breathing easy.
Yeah, great. Like, the Ignite is very inefficient at dealing with those pushes. Dazzles can only do it if there's a large creep wave with him. Havost is single targets. Lina offers really the only AoE that is somewhat efficient in clearing through those trees. The Night Stalker does nothing. You have so little heroes that, yeah, the Octarine Core, you're spamming out Treants everywhere, but Na'Vi just can't clear them fast enough. They're always going to be having their side lane split pushed in, which frees up just space, like galaxies of space for Miracle to operate with, which he'll soon have an Abyssal Blade.
He's only got like 22k worth of net worth. It's only 10,000 in front of Dendi. Like it could be worse.
Yeah, that's only 650 gold per minute. Considering that he's, yeah, he actually he only died once. But he had the pressure of the early game on him, I guess. But it could. My point is, it could be like 750 gold per minute, really.
Yeah, it could be a hell of a lot more.
But that's just all the space that Moon's offering. I mean, again, I want to just like lather all this praise on Moon Meander, but I think he was one of the primary reasons that they won game number 1. And I think he did outstandingly in game number 2.
But you still
unorthodox builds, I would say, was again outside the box thinking.
I still want to flag it though, because I don't want it just to all be about Moomiander. Like it's not this 4 protect 1 kind of strat. Like everyone knows their jobs, and it's not just protecting Moomiander, because you've still got the Nature's Prophet who's creating space, but he's getting so much money, and they know like it's all about the kills. If we are looking for a sacrificial lamb, like the closest we're getting right now to the Melk Award is Notel. Like 4 for 11 on this Beastmaster. He dies time and time and time again. It almost gives you like that feeling of the mid solo of Artur when he first played for EG. And it's like, well, I'm Drow Ranger, I give an aura.
Yeah.
There's like, I'm Beastmaster, I give Vision, I give Balls, and I give Necro units. At least now he gives Necro units.
I mean, I was kind of I was teasing No-Tail because I felt like, yeah, he's been picked off a few too many times where he shouldn't have been, but there is such a thing as creating space. We see it all the times where supports will push out side lanes in order to create space for someone like Miracle. And Monkey Business, I think, is the most common team to do something like that, because that's what they really like to focus on. When Miracle gets a hard carry like this, is just finding space for him. So some of the, I would say maybe 50% of those deaths were in some way creating space for Miracle.
And you kept saying it too. Like, you kept saying like why is Na'Vi not adding pressure on this anti-mage? Like Bavor should be there with a smoke screen and bouncing from one side of the anti-mage to the other, causing real issues for him. But
or towers.
It took forever to get there.
I mean, look at the fact they still have a tier 1 tower up in the bottom lane. Like this is the Na'Vi. The way Na'Vi would win this would be like by 25 minutes they've both shut down heroes and taken at least all the tier 1 outer towers, and then start closing in on those tier 2s. You just got to limit the control that Monkey Business, like the map control that they have. But
at least Na'Vi's got a little bit more control now. That unrefined blast, Snake managed to complete up a full Aghanim Scepter on this Ogre Magi. So they've got a little bit more to play around with during the fights now. Not to mention Ricky Mara is finding more and more farm, building into a BKB. But where are they going? Denny's hoping that someone from Monkeys is hanging around here, but it's just more and more trees. I almost wish that Funnick built into a Maelstrom or something along those lines. And the trees just move in. The bottom lane already attacked, so these Treants, they're attacking down this tier 3 tower where PSM has to use his burst heal. And now, wait, there's another wave. They just keep coming. It's just...
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
I mean, Monkey Business are just like, take all the gold you want from that. You're not getting neutrals.
Raw
Denny's
top
dead.
lane, yep. Caught out of position, kill secure from Moomiander. The Abyssal Blade also just got completed up by Miracle. So they've got proper lockdown. Denny will be, like, he'll have to buy back. Like, there's no other choice. If they lose a lane of Rags here, then Monkeys will win the game. Just based on split push. And there goes your tier 3 tower. But where's your opening? Like, how did Na'Vi even initiate this? Or do they? Do they just wait? Oh my god.
I think part of it was like the Shadow Blade going in.
There it is.
But
Jump in, quick pick, and Dazzle just evaporates. It was Abyssal Blade control. You're getting the multi-stuns over on Miracle. He's dropping so low. Miracle BKBs and then blinks himself away. He'll get the mech as well as the soul repeal.
But Moonmeander's pushing in the bottom lane. He's already brought that melee Rex down to half. Na'Vi are just scrambling from side to side, trying to stop these pushes.
Vorsash able to blink himself up. He's able to get the bash as well over the latest profit, but that BT's coming in at the moment. And, well, actually ends up getting cancelled. Who was that? Moonmeander's is going to end up dying. It was Beastmaster coming to the bottom lane to try and help out. I think he realized that the Prophet was dead. But he was coming in with War. He could have actually bought space for that to work.
He'll get an extra one fly with the Yule Scepter.
Yeah.
He'll go down. I was actually trying to figure out, I didn't actually see it, but with the exact cooldown on Dagon once you get it to level 5, because I think it's something like 10 seconds, and then you have the Octarine core, so
Top
you're
lane.
7.5 second cooldown.
Chris in trouble. Funny's just beating the crap out of him. And this will be a very, very dead Tuskar. That gem of PSMs is in the hands of Phonic. They still hold that gem in the Beastmaster's hands, however.
Well, congratulations, Na'Vi. You're finally going to have the opportunity to push out, maybe take some map control, maybe even keep all 3 lanes pushed past the river.
No.
Maybe.
No.
But then Miracle.
Yeah, he's up. Like, you've got Nature's Prophet up in 7 seconds. He'll trigger the Aghanim's ulti. And then there's a crap wave of treants.
Yeah, I mean, they had, like, in this very small period of time, they have to accomplish something big. But then Miracle pushes out the bottom lane, then Furion's back up, and all of a sudden it all goes down.
Another 2 trees on bottom lane.
It all goes down the drain.
Oh, God. This chip, it's like the never-ending horde. Can we actually just turn Prophet into, like give him a Zerg skin?
Just little Zerglings pop out instead of trees.
Yep.
Zergling rush.
And then the big ones when a hero dies is the Roach.
Well, we now have a BKB for Riki, so it's something, but there's still the control of Abyssal Blade from the AEM.
Yeah.
I'm presuming he's going to get an MKB eventually just to deal with the smoke screen, but I guess the BKB works just as well.
Well, then
so
again,
maybe he doesn't do
would
that.
you even need to get that? Because you could just get it like a butterfly of your own and then make it so Ricky Murray doesn't do any damage.
Yeah, yeah, Butterfly is actually a much better example. I was just like, that's so hard to hit underneath smoke screen, but he'll just always keep the BKB for that instant.
And it could always just rely too on having that mech as well as, I say mech, now Greaves, as well as sort of to keep alive. So, goodbye to the Observer Ward. Na'Vi, they go in for Roshan. This time, Monkey is in a position where they can defend. So, look to drop down that Tombstone. Snako being forced up by himself, trying to just make a little bit of space. Roshan down to 4 point. No, actually just 4K now. Tombstone finally is going to get dropped in no tell. The roar's over on Denny. Miracle jumping forward. The Mana Void. It can even just do the spill damage at the moment because Denny's got nothing left. And there she pops. Fly might get stunned up. Denny will run himself out of here. And Roshan is still alive and fighting. PSM's going to drop. They've lost everyone here for Na'Vi. Roshan drops, and there it is. GG is the call. Monkey Business will take a 2-0 victory here over Na'Vi. And that pretty much secures them #1 in the group.
Really well done by Monkey Business. They're in a much better position. I'm not sure if they're #1, but they're in a much better position than they were because they were sitting on like
yeah, actually, they were low.
Just a tie.
They tied with Ninjas in Pajamas now at 4 points apiece.
Yeah, so they're looking at a better position. Much more likely that they're going to take top 2 alongside Ninjas in Pajamas, but there's still plenty more games to go through. CIS Rejects, I think, is one of the teams that really could have the potential to upset for that second place slot.
Yep.
But for me, I really felt like it was just a straight out draft. I thought the last pick of Undying was really good for Monkey Business. The reason I feel like it's an outdraft is that Na'Vi had a better shot at doing kind of the same strategy in game #1 than they did in game #2, and they couldn't execute it perfectly enough to ensure that they could win that. So in the end, when I look at game #2, I'm like, Monkey Business are going to be able to push this late.
Yeah, well, then I don't think we should talk about this anymore because we've got the panelists who get to analyze what happened. So stay tuned, we'll be with them shortly.
Thank you very much, Toby. The Monkey Business looking good. I almost said the Ninjas in Pajamas. Monkey Business looking very good over Na'Vi, and that does indeed tie them now for first place with NIP, which is interesting because we're going to have Na'Vi versus NIP as our next matchup coming up right after this discussion. So there's still a lot of fun going on here in Group B. Lumi, thoughts about that game?
I mean, I think Cap touched on it a lot. The debate about the first Aghanims and then the Octarine core, and whether it was right to keep spamming and feeding them treants. But I felt like the continuous pressure really made it very difficult for Navi's hero to defend the creeps, defend against treants. But was it that, or was it like kind of 10 minutes before it? Because I felt like Navi had the heroes to really dominate in the laning stage, and then Undying happened, and then they lost a lot of steam.
That is exactly what I saw on the laning stage. That Undying was just...
Yeah, they would have won the early game if not for the Undying pick. It literally took their crappy lanes and said, like, we have Tombstone. Have fun. And, like, they had tons of damage. They would right-click like crazy in the early laning stage when they aggressively tri-lane, but the Tombstone was just so dangerous. And then the other really big turning point was when they double-dived on the Nature's Prophet and he got the double kill. That was just... can't happen. It put Havos in a position where he was already behind because he was in a 1v1 versus Nature's Prophet, and just made it even worse. So I think maybe they should have done a little more dual lanes, less tri-lanes, like shift Ogre down to the safe lane, give Ricky like 4 minutes of farm, that way he can get at least a Treads advantage over the Prophet so his DPS is higher, and then transition into eventually get into Diffusal Blade, because the timing that he got his Diffusal was so late. If he got it earlier, he could have done solo ganks.
22-minute Diffusal.
Yeah, like he basically played from behind all game, and he had an admirable performance considering the lane that he started with. Ricky's just not a 1v1 hero.
And like you said, I think the trial line top generally will work out, because also, what did they get? They got maybe one or two kills. I think they killed Miracle once, and then they rotated out of the trial lane. It kind of got, I think, the Night Stalker a bit farmed, but there was like multiple instances where Havos would like chase somebody down with like smoke, and he just wouldn't. They would walk out of it, and that was it.
Because he got like level 1 backstab for the longest time.
Yeah, and he didn't do any damage. And like the ganks that he tried to set up, I understood that they were feeling pressure. They needed to gank the anti-mage. They needed to gank other heroes on the map, and they were successful killing that Beastmaster. But it didn't matter because he wasn't getting farm. Moonmeander crushed him in lane. Moonmeander actually had a legit itemization. I think he's a genius, but whatever. That's just what I think. That was insane.
All right, Mott, don't fangirl too hard now.
But like they just played, and then like you said, it was really the Tombstone. I mean, it wasn't just that single dive that happened though. It was like that happened over and over again. It happened in the last game too. That's just, I think Navi just they go in way too hard. They don't know when to stop. Like, okay, we got the kill, we can back away, or we didn't get that kill, we need it back. But
that one play like in the mid game where they had the Tombstone and they tried to commit to it and they just surrounded it with treants and Necro units and just raw bodies so they couldn't click it. That was when I was like, all right, this Tombstone is actually doing work here. So much so that Monkey Business are like, swarm the Tombstone, protect it from the melee heroes, and they actually couldn't kill it. It was an impressive little strategy there.
Yeah, Fly actually did play very well that game. It wasn't just the power of Undyne, it's also the power of a really good player in the hands of a strong hero. Yeah. So he did play really well that game.
Some of his soul rips were actually insane amounts of healing and damage.
It's 500 at max.
It was like ridiculous.
Yeah, when you have all those units, that hero is just incredible.
Yeah.
Really solid draft.
Yeah, the draft was really good.
I think the key thing is, like you brought up, there was one gank on the top lane where Anti-Mage was found by Ricky, and then he cloud, and then Night Stalker couldn't come in time. It's just like little things like that. It shows Navi is just not on point with each other. They don't understand that sometimes if you dive too deep, maybe they were expecting a little bit more reinforcements, but can't get it. So I feel like Navi, obviously, they have the strategy. They have the players. It's just execution has not been there for a long time, it feels like.
Yeah, and it feels like Monkey Business have really tightened up. We talked about that at the beginning of this series, and both of these games were pretty impressive in terms of execution. Plenty more to say. We will be coming back shortly, but we need to go to a commercial break, and then the Dota 2 action will resume here in the Monster Energy DreamHack Studios. You're watching the qualifiers for the Frankfurt Major.